Kevin Feige, the guy running Marvel Studios, saying vague things should really not be a shock to anybody. And recently, he was asked about all of the canceled Netflix shows and those characters' futures. So let's get into this. So just a little bit of back history. The Netflix deal of Marvel, that was reached in the early days of Marvel Studios. You know, when they signed those contracts, they were testing the waters for digital, how to distribute some of these characters, and things were in place that they couldn't really control. Naturally, certain contracts and holdovers were, let's say, beneficial to Netflix, not beneficial to Disney. When Netflix chose to cancel everything, there were certain holds on these characters that are going to take 2 years before the characters can appear anywhere else. So that's quite a bit of time, but naturally that time will go by sooner rather than later, so these characters can go anywhere from the day of cancellation to 2 years after. Now, in the meantime, Kevin Feige, the guy running Marvel Studios, did not directly, at least, like every day, work with Jeff Loeb, the guy that runs Marvel Studios TV/Marvel TV. And this is where some of that disconnect kicks in. Obviously, the shows are set within the MCU, but they've never really acknowledged them more than some of the other shows, which are like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter. And there was a point to that, but obviously some of the Netflix stuff in the contracts. So when Kevin Feige was directly recently asked during interviews on his intent with these characters, he gave one of those non-answers which he gives. He said currently there are those contracts in place and they cannot use them till that time expires. But at the same time, he did say that there's a lot of great characters that are over on Netflix, so wait and see. Now realistically, I think any of us can kind of understand what he's saying. He's not allowed to say if they have any plans. And even if they did, he's not going to say anything, because what's the point of showing your hand? It just wouldn't make sense. At the same time, there's no doubt that they would like to do something with these characters at some point, and to me, honestly, I think they're going to go to Hulu. Now, the difference between Hulu and Netflix is massive, because Hulu is largely now mostly owned by Disney. So they don't have to go through a middleman like Netflix. If they wanted crossover, they can get right into it. So it'd be a lot easier. And obviously it's going to take a little bit of time before anything happens, but I think this is our first hint towards you might see something. Nothing major, but who's to say in like season 2 of Winter Soldier and Falcon, they're not going to run into like Luke Cage or someone, We don't know, but it's more plausible that it could happen because of the way things are going to be handled.